Hello everyone. Can you properly hear me through the virtual Laval world? Yeah, I got a yes from Steven. That's really cool. That's convenient. Given that we are a very small audience, we will see how it is when we actually start at 10:05. Given that we are a very small audience, it's actually a good thing. We can make this more into a conversation. So if you have questions throughout, you can always raise your hands. Do you know where the raise hand button is? Yeah, I got a yes from Steven. That's really cool. That's convenient. Given that we are a very small audience, we will see how it is when we actually start at 10:05. Or as one of you has pointed out, you can also just ask in the chat. It's actually a good thing. Well, but that's great. Let's just wait 10:05 for the timing to be up and talk to you then. You can always raise your hands. Do you know where the raise hand button is? Yeah, I got a yes from Steven. That's really cool. That's convenient. Given that we are a very small audience, we will see how it is when we actually start at 10:05. Or as one of you has pointed out, you can also just ask in the chat. It's actually a good thing. Well, but that's great. Let's just wait 10:05 for the timing to be up and talk to you then. You can always raise your hands. Do you know where the raise hand button is? Yeah, I got a yes from Steven. That's really cool. That's convenient. Given that we are a very small audience, we will see how it is when we actually start at 10:05. Or as one of you has pointed out, you can also just ask in the chat. It's actually a good thing. Well, but that's great. Let's just wait 10:05 for the timing to be up and talk to you then. Hello, hello everyone. We're going to start the presentation in about 2 minutes. Hello, hello everyone. We're going to start the presentation in about 2 minutes. Hello, hello everyone. We're going to start the presentation in about 2 minutes.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you for being here today. We kindly ask you to wait for another 2 minutes. And for the other, we're waiting for the other people to come. So thank you so much. See you in a bit. Hi, hello everyone. Thank you for being here today. We kindly ask you to wait for another 2 minutes. And for the other, we're waiting for the other people to come. So thank you so much. See you in a bit. Hi, hello everyone. Thank you for being here today. We kindly ask you to wait for another 2 minutes. And for the other, we're waiting for the other people to come. So thank you so much. See you in a bit.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, hi everyone. How are you today? And thanks for being here today. I don't know many of you had the chance to get here in Laval on our physical program at this year of stuff that COVID imposed on ourselves. For those who didn't make it, we are happy to be entertaining
Hello,
you
hello.
with
Can you
the
hear me?
last trend, hot
Yes.
topics, coverage
Okay.
of the XR
So,
industry with our
hi
dynamics and
everyone.
our program.
How are you
My
today?
name is Carlo
And thanks
Corinadelsi.
for
I'm
being
from
here
Italy
today.
and I'm currently based in
I don't
Colombia.
know many of
I've
you had the
been
chance to
collaborating with
get
Laval
here in
since
Laval
2019,
on
contributing to
our
build a big
physical
brain,
program,
bring
year
Laval
of
virtual
stuff
in
that COVID
South
imposed
America.
on ourselves.
Moderating
For
the
those
panel together with me
who
today is
didn't
my
make
Italian
it,
collaborator,
we are happy to
Giulia
entertain
Toccafondi.
you
You're
with
also
the last
representing
trend,
VR
hot
Days
topics,
Immersive Tech Week
coverage of
Satellite
the
Event
XR
Italy.
industry with our dynamics and
Uh, uh,
our program.
today's today's
My name is
theme
Carlo
with our
Corinaldesi.
VR
I'm
for
from
Good
Italy
program
and I'm
is
currently based in
sustainability,
Colombia.
XR
I've
industry, and
been
how it's
collaborating with
being
Laval
defined
since
and applied in
2019
company and XR
to build
focused
a big
research
brain,
center.
bring Laval
But
virtual
let
at
me now
South
introduce you
America
our five speakers.
ourselves.
We are happy to have
Moderating the
with
panel
us
together
today
with me
Dimitri
today is
Pirnay,
my Italian collaborator,
Yann
Julie
Kerbart
Despraz.
from
You're also
SAOLA
representing VR
Studio,
Days
Joyce
Immersive Tech
Bettencourt,
Week
AvaCon,
satellite events
Julie
Italy
Despraz,
with our dynamics.
Alloverse, and Benjamin
Today's
Poussard.
my name is
So
Carlo
Each of them will be presenting the research and the mission of their company, giving us an overview of how XR company are shaping social interaction in a more sustainable, inclusive way. After our guests will have finished with their presentation, we are going to dive topic of sustainability with a 30-minute panel titled Do You Turn Together in XR? Our guests will be asked to give their own definition of sustainability with an immersive tech that explains what is the good impact of the cutting edge technology on environment and social interaction. So thanks you again for being here today. We are really hope we will join the presentation and the panel. So see you in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Carlo, for the presentation. And I think we can get started. And I'd like Dimitri Pirnay to step in and start his own presentation. Thank you so much and see you later.
So thanks you
Thank you
again
very
for
much,
being
Julia.
here
Thank you
today.
very much,
We
Carlo.
are really hope we will join the presentation and the panel. So see you in
So
five
nice to
minutes.
meet you, everyone.
Thank you.
Some user tags are familiar
Yeah, thank
from
you
a
so much,
previous Laval
Carlo,
Virtual World
for the
event.
presentation.
It's quite
And I think
inconspicuous.
we can get
Myself,
started.
I'm
And
Dimitri
I'd like
from One
Dimitri
Bonsai.
Pirnay to step in and
I'm not
start
present
his
at
own
the physical
presentation.
event at Laval,
Thank you
so
so
I'm
much and
streaming
see you
from
later.
Brussels in Belgium. So I'm going to talk to you about digital humans in the specific use case of virtual reality training. Let's get started. So, One Bonsai, we are a virtual reality training company. We design and make virtual reality trainings. These virtual reality trainings, we make them across many different sectors. Like we've worked with the healthcare industry, building VR trainings for hospitals. We work with the heavy industry, manufacturing. We also work, for example, with the Belgian police, making their violence de-escalation trainings directly in VR, with the Belgian army as well, to making their fire training on marine ships, construction industry, and so on and so forth. So we've been doing this for 2016. So we are actually we've been actually in business for about five years, something like this, and we operate from Brussels, from Belgium, but like everywhere in Europe. I'm gonna keep the presentation of One Bonsai, my company, short to dive into the specific topic at hand, which is the topic of digital humans. So back in 2018, I gave a keynote at Laval about digital twins, and there I was actually showing a digital twin for a operating theater in one of the hospitals here in Brussels. And that talk was all about how we made that digital twin and what was the business case around it. Today, so it's about almost 2 years later, a lot of time has passed, and now we are actually going to talk about digital twins of humans. So not only about material things anymore, but about why do we care about digital humans? Because, at One Bonsai, we all do training. So everything that we do is always about teaching people on how to do things, on how better to think, on how to better apply themselves. So we believe that digital humans are the next teachers. And why does it matter? Because here I'm going to show a brief example of one of the trainings that we have made. In that specific training, you can see my colleague here. Basically, him is like acting out in virtual reality, and you basically see him interact with the world, and he's getting actually into indications of what he is supposed to do in what order, with a lot of voice explanations on why specific steps have to be performed and why not. And if he actually makes mistakes, he also gets corrected on these mistakes. This is the nature of that type of training is extremely important because we are not doing linear training per se. We are actually doing a dynamic training. You have all seen these kind of graphs where we compare the learning curriculum of traditional teaching compared to the kind of curriculums that we are able to achieve through a virtual reality dynamic training. And many people actually acknowledge this, but it's not necessarily understood why it matters from a pedagogical perspective. Why it matters to not teach things in a sequential way, like skill number one, and then skill number two, and then skill number three, and skill number four. Why does it matter to be able to dynamically look back on specific skills and reinforce some specific learnings in case of eventual pedagogical mistakes that we encounter later down the pedagogical track of one trainee? Well, it matters because in traditional teaching, we make the distinction between lucky students and unlucky students. So I'm going to show a few big diagrams, but bear with me. Like if you follow my pointer, I'm going to guide you through it. So lucky students, they are the type of students that overperform in the classroom, so to speak. So what happens is that when they actually learn their first skill, they learn it very fast, much faster than the rest. And the remainder of the time, they basically sleep it out. They basically phase out for this. And when it's about learning skill number two, they also learn it very fast and then they phase out. That phasing out behavior is actually a real issue because it creates a bore out effect. Students that are classified as lucky students are going to actually bore out of the training. In the best of case, he's just going to lose big part of his time. And in the worst case, he's actually going to bore out of the training curriculum and just go spend his time elsewhere. On the opposite side of the spectrum, you have unlucky students. Unlucky students, typically, they don't acquire the pedagogical content during the first course, so to speak. Not because they are lesser than the lucky student, but maybe it's not their day, or maybe there's a specific distraction that specific day that makes him like basically lose this content. Means that by the time he actually does skill number two, he's going to be out of sync and he's going to be unable to get the delivery of the pedagogical contents. And he's literally going to actually drop out of the curriculum as well. This happens in traditional teaching all the time, but not only into classrooms. Like you have it also into e-learning, and you also have it in some forms of virtual teachings as well. Like this is just a way of pedagogical delivery. When you go inside of individual tutoring, then you are allowed to do much better things. If you are a lucky student, don't need to wait as soon as the pedagogical content is acquired, you can basically move on to the next skill and so on and so forth. So you basically save a whole bunch of time and you also protect the motivation of your learner. In the case of an unlucky student, the fact that the training is dynamic makes it that the training is not going to basically move ahead without the student. So the training is somehow going to wait on the student to actually be ready and to be in a better phase. So, and then the unlucky student is able to resume a proper learning journey and finish on time. This has done individual tutoring is recognized as being able to pull these kind of dynamics off. It's extremely powerful. And so there you see where we approach the concept of digital humans. You start to grasp why, because we want to reach that stage of individual tutoring through digital humans that actually deliver the training. Um, the Talking about these kind of behaviors, so the ability to actually look back into training contents is also enabled through some advanced features and tricks. For example, it is known that you can extract from the biokinetic data of your users, so basically the position of their headsets and their controllers or their tracked hands. You can extract from that information many data about your user, and one of the mainly important ones is a state of global focus. If your user is distracted, you're going to actually know it just from the biokinetic data of your user. So this actually allows you to eventually wait for your user to be in a focus state before delivering the rest of the pedagogical contents. You can extract from that information so that's a really important aspect of teaching, and the reason why we invest so much in these virtual reality trainings and why it matters so much is because it allows us to teach so much better, to teach at like and in a much more inclusive ways, like not forbidding unlucky students out of the training curriculums. And so one of the main tools that we are using is digital humans. Digital humans are by definition digital. And the challenge here from a technical perspective and design perspective is to make these humans, human-like, and in a much more inclusive ways, like not one of the core technologies that is used here at One Bonsai and also everywhere else is a basically content creation facilities. When you have a digital human that have to give explanation, teach things to trainees, you actually need to be able to work from typically simple text, because a training often contains about 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours of speech content. The only way to do it scalable is to basically start from text. Text can be synthesized into speech. So if you have like a Bienvenue à Laval, you can actually synthesize it inside of a waveform, of an audio file. And an audio file you can also convert through AI algorithms into what we call phonemes. So phonemes are these uh, visual expressions of the mouth when you actually pronounce certain words. For example, the E or the E or the O, all of these little, each basically phoneme of the sentence is going to be split up into these. And these phonemes are actually translated into visemes. So basically uh, the visual effect on the user's face. And these kind of algorithms actually run like this. So once you have the speech, so here you sadly you can't hear through the room the sound of my computer, but you'll I think you'll be able to get the idea, of course. You have like these different visemes that actually match with the phonemes, that actually match with the text. And based on this, you're able to synthesize a believable speech pattern. And these kind of algorithms actually run like this. So once you have the speech, this is one of the very first ingredients to have a digital human that speaks, in a believable way. However, if you take basically this resulting animation and you paste it onto a human, you're going to get like mixed results. So this is the same voice line being fed through the animation system. And we see that the mouth is actually behaving realistically, but the overall image, the overall representation of the digital human is extremely creepy. If you had a teacher speaking to you like this, it would be really, really creepy, really, really fast. Why? Because we are missing some components to actually make this digital teacher more human-like, more human-like, which is the subconscious layer. So if we look at each of these layers one by one, you have first element is the blinking. Humans blink in a slightly random yet structured way. So this slight randomness you can basically apply on your digital human without an issue. Don't have only blinking. You also have like the twitchy eye movement. This as well is can be completely random and basically just like completely applied to the model as well. It doesn't need even to look at something specific. It's just a little randomness trick to make it more believable. And same things for the micro expressions. So instead of having a fully flat face, like the 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 eyebrows can also be animated in order to in a completely random way, so unrelated to the to speech or what the instructor is actually or the teacher is actually saying, just to give this flavor, human flavor to the animation. On top of this, you also have to add my dominant emotions. So on top of the micro expressions, you can see here it's quite discrete in the video feed, but you can actually see here like a dominant expression, like some twitching of the overall eyebrows. So like emotion of concern. And on top of this, you also have to animate a little bit the neck. The head of a human is never straight. It's always, always, always moving. And so this is also a randomness factor that you can put inside of the neck movement. And so when you combine all these uh, rendering tricks, so technological tricks, you go from the very creepy character, very creepy teacher that we had in the beginning, that was basically only moving his lips, like delivering content to you. Little by little, when you add the eye and the gaze, and when you add the blinks, and when you add the movements of the eyebrows, and the dominant emotion to your character, and then a little bit of neck movement, then you actually have a performance that is like completely believable. And when you put a user in front of such a digital human, it's it's really puzzling. Like you get a very, very strong response from the trainees. You get a very strong response to these animated characters because instead of using, explanation panels like you've seen in the very short video at the very beginning of my speech, you actually have a human that is enfin, a virtual human that is delivering delivering content to you, that is actually explaining you things and reacting to what you do. The engagement that you achieve through this is insanely high. So this was only about the face, but you have the same with hand animations. If you look at just the hands in an unanimated way, also looks very uncanny. All hands of the teachers have to be animated. It seems like a detail, but when you have a digital human in front of you, hands go a very long ways. Like the second most important morphological element on top of the face that you're looking at. So when you combine these features together, what you can get, what you can achieve is actually extremely believable digital humans. If you look at just uh, this screenshot here, you actually have an excellent example of a best-in-class rendering of skin, like the way the skin actually colors and gets lit, cloth, so the actual clothings that the digital human is wearing, the way the hair looks, the way the pupils looks, and the strains look, it's all extremely believable. In this screenshot is a little bit exaggerated. So in a virtual reality training, you're going to have a slightly lesser amount of detail than this. Yet, you can be sure that in a matter of like 1 year or maybe 2 years, these are the digital humans that you will be, confronted with, the digital humans that are going to deliver the pedagogical content to you. They are very human-like. Once you enable, like all these tricks that actually mimic the behavior of a human being, you actually get that next level of immersion that is needed to really get the students engaged and students like on par with the students hooked to your training content. They are very human-like. Once you enable, and given that it's digital, obviously you have some superpowers regarding these digital humans and digital tutors. You can close them however you want. You can adapt them to however situation. It seems anecdotal, but for the sense of training, diversity, and inclusivity, this is extremely important. And once it's there, it basically is a platform for almost infinite content creation. Some superpowers regarding these digital humans and digital tutors. You can close them however you want. You can adapt them to however situation. Once you have these digital humans, you actually can also hook them to what we call locomotion machines. So on this image, you actually see here a very good boy, a very good dog, with his digital skeleton represented inside. So in that example, the dog has not been pre-recorded. Like this is machine learning driven animation of that skeleton based on objectives that the AI sets itself. So if there is like the digital being has to, for example, reach a specific place, he will be able to basically reach this place using a very fluid and human-like approach. Has not been pre-recorded. Like this is machine learning driven animation. And to further enhance how easy it is becoming to actually animate these virtual reality characters, these digital humans. Has to, for example, reach a specific place, he will be able to that you can basically also record performances like extremely easily, extremely efficiently. This is something that you couldn't do 2 or 3 years ago. You couldn't just, by yourself with the own webcam of your own smartphone, just record your facial performance and your voice performance and map it to a digital human. That kind of, easiness of creation is basically the enabler for digital humans to create pedagogical contents, teaching contents. 2 or 3 years ago. And so you couldn't just this so far was really digital and really technical. And you see that like digital humans are indeed like shaping to be your future teachers. That kind of why do we do is why digital humans specifically, like why not e-learning or like the specific classroom and so on. Well, it is known by now, it's been studied in many different ways, in many different contexts, that like just VR dominates in terms of pedagogical delivery. Not only does it dominate on the delivery, but like with a much higher emotional connection. When you have a virtual human in front of you actually giving you an individual tutoring, your emotional connection to the content and to the digital human is skyrocket higher than what we usually achieve. And so another comment that we always get at One Bonsai is that this is, going to be too expensive. Like when we see these kind of very high quality digital humans, tell ourselves, okay, but this is actually not going to be payable. And actually, not really. It's the the business case aspect of it, of return on investment, of making these digital humans to deliver that pedagogical content, is only a matter of the number of learners that you have. So would we have a digital, virtual reality training for only, let's say, 1,000 learners, then you wouldn't have a good business case to actually deploy the entire armada of digital humans. But if you have more people that actually need to be trained, more people that actually need to be learned, need to be trained, need to be taught, then digital humans make a lot of sense because you make the system once and you can basically scale it massively at scale. And given that it's all parametric, the digital human is being driven by an AI, it also allows you to deliver the pedagogical content in, for example, all languages or adapted to all cultures and so on and so forth. So these digital humans, I can guarantee you, are actually your next teachers. You can be pretty sure that, like, our generation and the one after this is going to get taught by digital humans. Not entirely, not everything will be taught through digital humans, but you can be sure that like a very large part of it is going to be. Now 10:35 on my watch. So maybe some of you have questions regarding all this. Like, our generation and the one after this is going to get taught by. You have questions, you can actually ask them in the chat or just maybe use your voice. I think that would work. A very large part of it is going to be. Now 10:35 on my watch. So maybe some of you have questions regarding all this. Like, our generation and the one after this is going to get taught by. You have questions, you can actually ask them in the chat or just maybe use your voice. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate typing it inside of the chat box. Now 10:35 on my watch. So maybe some of you have questions regarding all this. You have questions, you can actually ask them in the chat or just maybe use your voice. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate. It was a pleasure to meet you all. I hope the subject actually interests you. If it does, don't hesitate, reaching out to us even more. We'll be happy to, ask your questions. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Carlo. So I give you the floor back to you, Carlo and Julia.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dimitri.
Round of applause for Dimitri for this very interesting note. Start 4-5, F4.
F4, nice. Ask your questions.
Back.
We'll be back. Thank you, Richard.
5 minutes.
Thank you, Carlo.
Okay.
So I give you the floor back to you,
Thank you so
Carlo
much.
and Julia.
Yeah, see you in 5 minutes. Thank you, Dimitri. Bye.
Round of applause for Dimitri for this very interesting note. Start 4-5, F4.
F4, nice. Ask your questions.
Back.
We'll be back. Thank you, Richard.
5 minutes.
Thank you, Carlo.
Okay.
So I give you the floor back to you,
Thank you so
Carlo
much.
and Julia.
Yeah, see you in 5 minutes. Thank you, Dimitri. Bye.
Round of applause for Dimitri for this very interesting note. Start 4-5 F4.
Ah, F4, nice.
Back. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay? Thank you so much.
Yeah, see you in 5 minutes. Thank you, Dimitri. Bye.
Round of applause for Dimitri for this very interesting note. Start 4-5 F4.
Ah, F4, nice.
Back. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay? Thank you so much.
Yeah, see you in 5 minutes. Thank you, Dimitri.
Il y a carrément le nom. On est les premiers.
Ah bon, mais avancez.
Il y a carrément le nom. On est les premiers.
C'est le plan.
Je suis reparti. Est-ce que tu as des liens? On peut peut-être déjà aller le mettre en vrai.
3.
Tu as le lien? On peut peut-être déjà aller le mettre sur la présentation.
Je vais peut-être demander à...
Si vous êtes les suivants à passer, n'hésitez pas à venir, les amis.
Ok.
Ok, on arrive.
Je vais couper mon écran et puis je vous laisse le tel.
Très bien, merci. C'est le plan.
Je suis reparti. Est-ce que tu as des liens? On peut peut-être déjà aller le mettre en vrai.
3.
Tu as le lien? On peut peut-être déjà aller le mettre sur le. Yann, je te laisse mettre l'adresse.
Si vous êtes les suivants à passer, n'hésitez pas à venir, les amis.
Ok.
Ok, on arrive.
Je vais couper mon écran et puis je vous laisse le tel.
Très bien, merci.
Est-ce que tu as des liens? On peut peut-être déjà aller le mettre en vrai.
3.
Tu as le lien? On peut peut-être déjà aller le mettre sur le. Yann, je te laisse mettre l'adresse.
Si vous êtes les suivants à passer, n'hésitez pas à venir, les amis.
Ok, on arrive. Du coup, ce sera toi qui changera aussi l'adresse pour la vidéo.
Je vous laisse le tel.
Je la mettrai sans doute sur l'écran d'à côté.
Oh, Yann, je te laisse mettre l'adresse. Du coup, ce sera toi qui changera aussi l'adresse pour la vidéo.
Je la mettrai sans doute sur l'écran d'à côté.
Oh, du coup, ce sera toi qui changera aussi l'adresse pour la vidéo.
Je la mettrai sans doute sur l'écran d'à côté.
Oh.
Prêt?
Vous êtes prêts?
Oui.
Absolument.
Ouais. On recommence?
On recommence?
Et bien, très bien.
Bonjour à tous, est-ce que tout le monde m'entend? Ok, bah écoutez, merci d'être venu. Yann, tu m'entends?
En anglais, Florent.
Yeah, sure.
Ouais, c'est tout en anglais.
All right, sorry about that. Hello everyone, I'm Florent Gillard. Maybe I will introduce my team here. Today, Yann Kerbart, can you say hi maybe?
Hi, everybody.
Et bien, très bien.
With head of operation, and Zachary Dals, who is our augmented reality integrator.
Hi.
Today we will present our studio named SAOLA. I co-founded with Dimitri and how we conduce our first experience named Revivre, which is an exhibition using AR glasses, HoloLens 2, in the French National History Museum. So first, what is SAOLA? Augmented reality integrator. Okay, Yann, I can't change the slide on my shortcut. Can you move to the next one? Okay, thank you. Okay, so SAOLA is an augmented reality creation studio. We believe that augmented reality is really an interesting and an amazing new technology, which will make the difference by contents. Technology is, of course, something we have to manage, but we create our studio for immersive experiences, gathering a team around us. Can you switch a slide, please? With a lot of different talents. We are from video film industry, art, scenography, authors, naturalists. So we gather a team around us to make storytelling, to produce contents and high quality contents in terms of experience. That's where our studio comes from. Next, please. And we think that this is what we need mainly for talking to museums and cultural sites, because today the technology we can manage Unity, we can manage the hardware. This is something we can definitely do, but to try to find the good way to speak to the museum, to find the new way of mediation, to find the good story as a storytellers, we think is really the most important. So that's the way we created SAOLA Studio.
Okay, so yes, thank you, Flo. And I will try to tell you more about the project. And maybe to start, I propose you to watch the teaser of our experience that I will try to make you see on the other screen, the one on your right.
Is really the most important. So that's the way we created SAOLA Studio.
Okay, so yes, thank you, Flo. And I will try to tell you Here it is. I hope that everybody saw the video. So let me tell you a little bit more and come back to Oh, what happened?
B vers 35 destinations magiques en Grèce. Choisissez la vôtre sur styleexpress.gr.
Excuse me a little. I got a problem with this. Okay. So, let's go back to review. Excuse me. Kind of hard to manage the video and the conference. So, yes, Revivre, so is an augmented reality experience that takes place in the room of endangered and extant species of the Great Gallery of Evolution of the National Museum of Natural History in Paris. Revivre is an immersive journey through the permanent collection of this room, in which the visitor, equipped with an augmented reality headset, will be able to see 10 extant animals from our era, such as dodo bird or the stellar sea cow, for example. So 10 extant animals come to life before his eyes, recreated and animated in 3D in a scientific and really realistic approach. The experience, which lasts approximately 15 minutes, is accompanied by an audio commentary broadcast via the headsets. And this commentary, available in several languages, explains the life, the characteristic, and the causes of the disappearance of these animals, mainly due to man, unfortunately. So, I'm sorry, I go a little bit too far on my slide. Is it so? Why we really produce Revivre? With Revivre, we wanted, of course, to add value and to enrich the museum's exceptional collection, but also to highlight the room itself and its fantastic architecture. And thanks to the technology and thanks to augmented reality, we could offer a spectacular and educational experience, but without cutting the visitor off from his real environment. Better still, we were able to use the naturalized specimens in the displays as the starting point for our virtual scenes and reinforce the viewer's sense of immersion. But the real primary goal of Revivre has always been to raise public awareness about the preservation of biodiversity. Today, we estimate that 70 species disappear every day, about 2,500 per year, which is enormous. And according to several studies, the sixth mass extinction is already on the way. And if it continues, the consequences for our ecosystems will be a real drama. And as with the animals featured and recreated in Revivre, human activity is the main cause of this possible disaster. So we have taken up the challenge of bringing back to life, if I might say, these extant animals of our era and presenting them to the public in the most realistic way possible, because we wanted to create a real link between the viewer and the recreated animal, to amaze, to move, to learn, but also and above all to make people understand what we had lost. And we really think that we can all, on our own scale, be the actors of a change and of an awareness. So this is the message and the most important message we wanted to share with Revivre. So let's talk about maybe the origin and the building of Revivre, but let's start with the origin, which is directly linked to the origin of our studio. And this story is kind of funny and pretty, because a few years ago, Jeremy Frey, the future co-founder of SAOLA Studio, and his little daughter were walking through the museum's endangered and extant species room. And in front of the naturalized animals, Jeremy's daughters look a little sad, and when Jeremy asked her why, she told him that it was a shame that these animals no longer moved. So that's in fact when it all started for us. Then Jeremy gathered a team around him composed of different but complementary profiles, and as Florence said before, and SAOLA Studio was born. So then things followed very naturally and finally very simply. We proposed the idea of Revivre to the Natural History Museum, and they like it. And then an original model was being created and devised, a co-production between the museum and our studio, where each would exercise its own skills. So SAOLA would produce the experience, and the museum would be in charge of communication, ticketing, and the on-site operation. So now then, the real work could really begin. And maybe I will let Flo explain to you how we select all the species
Yes.
from the sectors.
In our team, we do have a naturalist, which is also a journalist, so that knows really well all those species. So we selected working with head of scientists in the museum, scientific teams, and we try to balance between different location around the globe, different area, different kind of animals, so birds, mammals, insects, and also we want to tell a story. So from the starting point into the gallery to the end, there is a kind of scenario where a way where we want people go around and see those animals. So it's been a balance between a lot of things. Unfortunately, the only thing they probably got in common is that the reason of the extinction of each species is directly or non-directly, but always due to mankind, to the action of mankind, directly by hunting, or sometimes because of the reduction of the biodiversity around. So those are the species we selected. Just to give the name of few: Rétine de stellaire, which is a big how do you say it in English, Yann?
Kind of dugong, if you
Dugong,
know
exactly.
the
So we've got Epionis, which is a bird that was 3 meter high. We've got the dodo, of course, Smilodon, a turtle, pigeon, migration pigeon, which was a bird that we've got 3 billion of birds in North America that disappears. So a lot of major extinction species we presented here. So we've got maybe Yann, you can follow, or Zach.
Yeah, I'll take the next part, because now I'm gonna talk to you guys about yeah, the tech part, because there was really a long way to go, as it was our first project, but also it was a really a new innovative project, as we are working here in a museum. I'm sorry, Jan, could you come back a little to the slide, previous slide? Thank you. Yeah, and so we had to work in a gallery that is 100 meters long, and we first had to, yeah, really learned about all these field of the AR, of the VR, and all of this, and we had to choose a technology, and AR really was our choice of heart, because what we really wanted here is to propose an experience that could be shared by a whole family. What we wanted is that, as the daughter of Jérémy Frey could talk to him, saying it's so sad that he can't move anymore, we wanted that this link could be preserved when all the family could say, "Oh, look at that! Look at this! They are reviving, and before all of our eyes." So, yeah, we really wanted to share the same experience and also at the same time. So we had to deal with the synchronicity because we wanted we are the experience was to be done by group. And so that was also a difficult part to handle. And of course, AR enabled us to never cut off the people from reality. So what was really important for us also is not to just do some technology and so just to show some technologic skill, even if they are really awesome. We really wanted to just yeah like a little upgrade of the gallery because you have in this gallery pieces that are really unique in the world. So we never wanted to kill all the magnificence of this gallery. So yeah, we chose the AR and to go a little bit uh, deeper about the 3D process. Well, after choosing the AR technology, began the 3D process. After all the research with the help of the museum that really helped us about the scientific truth about all those animals that sometimes disappeared 200 years ago, and so we really needed all those precious intel. We could start the 3D process. So, of course, you all know this, but it's yeah about modeling. So creating the sculpture of the animal, then the rigging, creating like the skeleton to be able after this to create the animation. So once you have your skeleton, you can animate them, you can move the bones, and all the body will follow. Creating the animation and in the end, that was all the fun parts and in the end, lighting and shading. One particular thing is here we had a bit of a small help coming from the gallery because there are no windows, so it's always the same light. That was something really good for us because you once you have the same light, you are in the same zone every time. So you know that you don't have to change the light regarding of the hour of the day, and that's quite good. So yeah, lighting, shading, and all the 3D process came to. So you've got here, you'll see the process of the dodo that was creating from the draws and then to end in the HoloLens too. Also, yeah, I've not said it, but using AR, we came to the after looking at a lot of classes. We came to the agreement to go with the HoloLens 2 because of their field of view and because of their power of their stability also because it was really great what you can do about we need it to be really robust. um, then when we have created all the animation, you have to integrate it and to create scenes with all those animals and to be because we really wanted them to be located at a certain place in the gallery. So you do some 3D integration, you adapt the Unity MRTK library that I'm sure you all know. It's about mixed reality toolkit that is really common in Unity. So in this case, you're really developing your experience like a mobile application in terms of performances. You can't really, even if we had the animation to be in a 4K to make 4K images, you have to downgrade all your animation because of the HoloLens 2, and because you really wanted to not crash in the middle of the experience, and you want it to be enabled to because the experience is to be lasting 2 years in the museum for now. So we really want it to be really robust. And we are also using some tools in Unity that is called Timeline, and a lot of other tools that we also created with the help of a developer team that is called Wide and Wide. And so timeline, yeah, that enables to create a real scenario. Here it was really fun to do, to create all your story, and you really start your story that you imagined 2 years ago really start to become concrete, and it's really beautiful to see. And finally, we had also the creation of a management application, because what you want is the museum to be really to receive this object like a plug and play experience. So you also have a management application that here enables you to send all the glasses by groups of maximum six persons. And yeah, you have synchronicity. You can add and reject some glasses from the experience. You can have all the features that you need in an exploitation. That your what is really important is the flexibility. We really wanted. We have 25 classes for what we want is to send approximately 10 people every 15 minutes. So yeah, you have to be really flexible, and everything has to be really easy. So we made like the simple link, send a group, and all those little features that enable to connect on this final package that was Revivre. And hopla, it was done for the tech part. For what we want is to send approximately 10
Thank you very much, Zach.
every 15 minutes.
Maybe I can just give you. Can you just hear me, Yann? Can you confirm just to make sure?
Yes.
All right. So the launch have been a great success. We've been really happy about that and really proud. Actually, it's full. It's sold out since the first day it opened. Now the new days and new schedule have opened. So now there you can still book some tickets. But it has been a great success also because we've got a lot of press. All right. Actually, we made the major medias in France. So the first TV channel at the news at night. So it was really amazing. The same for the third TV channel, the second public one. Also did a big TV news article and show. And we've got a lot of newspaper, online communication and press, which is really interesting that we've got both also very technical release press and articles, but mainly wide audience also for kids. So we really happy because we did what we expected. So we did something which is not technical, which is an innovation based on storytelling, on mediation, on cultural and informations, on scientific aspects. Of course, it's still something like a bit magic because it's using AR, but it's AR really linked to reality, linked to something that can give information, that can give people and tell something and give purpose. And we are really happy about that because we think this is the future for augmented reality in cultural sites and museums. It's based on quality and the contents and of course technical aspects, but technical aspects are, I think, something we can definitely manage with professionals as Zachary and other teams. But the storytelling and the story is something that is what is SAOLA is born for. Yann, maybe you can conclude this project, this presentation. Augmented reality in cultural sites and museums. It's based on quality and the contents. And
Yann, for now, I think you are muted. Maybe.
I think something we
Thanks,
can
Zachary.
definitely
I
manage with
was
No
speaking to
problem.
myself.
teams.
So yes, I will conclude very quickly to not take too much time. So yes, will augmented reality become the cultural mediation tool of tomorrow? We think that yes, and we hope that yes. because what this technology is already capable of producing is incredible, and we are only at the beginning. So the only limits are those of our imagination, mainly. But really, AR, because of its attractiveness and its ability not to cut off from the material reality of the collection, we believe that AR will play an increasingly important role in the future of mediation, and in different areas, in different spheres like art, heritage, industry. In fact, wherever there is knowledge to share, we think that AR has a role to play. But as Florence said, the technology, however innovative and spectacular, must remain only a tool, because without good stories, without relevant messages, it will only be anonymous. So it is. Thanks to all of you to have taken time to listen to us, and you can follow us on all what appears on the screen. And if you have any further question, I think that we'll have a panel in 1 hour, and we maybe will be able to answer your questions. Because without good stories,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Florent, Yann, and Zachary from SAOLA Studio. So we make a short pause, and we come back in 2 minutes. We move forward with Joyce Bettencourt.
Maybe we'll be able to answer your questions.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys.
To Florent, Yann, and Zachary from SAOLA Studio. So we make a short pause, and we come back in 2 minutes. We move forward with Joyce Bettencourt. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Florent,
Thank you
tu es
very
là?
much, guys.
To Florent, Yann, and Zachary from SAOLA Studio. We make a short pause, and we come back in 2 minutes. We move forward with Joyce Bettencourt. Thank you. Yann, Zachary, je pense que Florent, il est resté là sur le stage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Florent,
Thank
tu
you
es
very
là?
much, guys.
Florent, il faut partir maintenant.
Florent, you have to leave now.
Florent,
No, and
please.
Florent has a little problem with his computer.
Prends la scène, Florent.
And he tried to restart his computer. We're sorry, Joyce. We're going to try to. Florent, please.
I don't think you can push him off the stage. It doesn't
I
work.
don't know. No,
What
it
a
doesn't
shame.
work. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna call him. Okay.
Thank
Nice.
you. Joyce, you can now step in. Thank you
Great.
so much.
That's okay. Luckily, I have run many virtual events in the past too, so I feel for everything, understand how these things go. Thank you very much. So today, versus like going over one specific project, this is kind of more of an overview and a timeline of some of the virtual and VR for good projects that I've kind of been involved with.
Joyce, you can now step in.
And just in case you want them as well, you can always find the slides, and I'll just do that and chat the URL. So, let's see if my slides work now. Oh, maybe I have to put the URL back in. Hold on a sec. This is kind of more of an overview and a timeline of some of the virtual projects. Okay. It doesn't seem to be working. You can always find the slides, and I'll just do that and share the URL. Let's see if my slides work now. Slides are not working. Maybe I have to put the URL back in. Hold on a sec. that'll work now. It's not advancing off of the first slide. Does that usually happen? Oh, wait, here we go. It's just a little slow. Maybe? Slides are not working. It doesn't seem to be advancing normally. Is that an issue usually?
Are you clicking on the screen, Joyce?
I'm clicking on the presentation tool.
Try clicking directly on the main screen. Sometimes it works, yeah.
Okay, there we go. Okay, then I'll kind of let's see, hopefully that'll work. So, so I am, as I said, I'm Joyce Bettencourt. You can find me at the URL up there, and you can certainly reach out to me. And as I said, that's the link for the slides. This photo is kind of a good, the screenshot is kind of a good sort of start to things. I've been working in the immersive VR virtual world space since about 2005, and before that, still in like kind of text immersive community stuff before that. And this particular image is a project that we're working on, kind of holographic avatar projection. And it was also being streamed into a virtual environment. So you kind of have like a mixed reality going on here. It's kind of a little snapshot of, I guess I'll click on the slide here. So I co-founded AvaCon, which is a nonprofit that focuses on the metaverse, and supporting the developers and users of virtual world spaces, VR, augmented reality. So that manifests itself in many ways. We host events, sometimes something similar to these, for various user communities or for certain topics, or even immersive art related things and sponsoring events like that. We also offer up the content that we create as Creative Commons, and whether that be models or resources that come from it. And you can find out more at avacon.org. And so the VR for Good topic is kind of very personal to me. I see the power of these immersive spaces to that they can kind of deeply convey and create empathy and real change. In the work that I've done, it's very much focused on working with nonprofits and educational spaces, whether that be with the nonprofit AvaCon I'm talking about, or some of the development work that I've done, either freelance or with others. And so everything kind of revolves around that. How can we use these technologies for serious use cases and good, and supporting kind of what others are trying to do to kind of create change in the world. The first of those, and again, a lot of these earlier things, this is kind of a timeline of stuff. So some of these things are kind of span various things. So the first, one of the kind of most ongoing things is Nonprofit Commons, which is a virtual community of practice for those who are interested in sort of social good, whether that be nonprofits, educators, libraries, museum folk, as was just in that last presentation. So supporting that community, hosting virtual spaces for them to actually be able to use for their projects or orgs, hosting weekly meetings that we host on Fridays. And AvaCon as a nonprofit sort of fiscally sponsors that and helps host these weekly meetings for them. And through the years, this community, Nonprofit Commons in general, started in 2007 and has been hosting weekly meetings and events, and hosting organizations with office spaces and things like that since that period of time, and still continues to this day. We meet every week. In fact, we meet on Fridays, so in a few hours I'll actually be hosting that meeting. And you can find out more at nonprofitcommons.avacon.org. And we also, there's information there too about the virtual space that we offer. So the next bits are some kind of highlights, I think. Many of you are doing projects. Some of these things are kind of, like I said, in the past or work their way up to the present in regards to when they've happened. But giving kind of an overview of some of the serious social good use cases of things. One of the particular things that, I'm interested in, and a lot of the folks, and I think the kind of greater nonprofit space is sort of using, how can we use these immersive worlds for like fundraising, connecting to people with your causes. This is an example of when the kind of Haiti earthquake happened and that disaster happened. There was a grassroots group of folks that got together that I was part of as well. And through just microtransactions, so like in-world, sales or donations or payments for things, whether that be, social, sort of like social events or akin to, kind of that kind of like small charity sort of thing. The event was able to raise $10,000 US dollars, actual real dollars, to go towards that relief efforts. And that's kind of a small example of that. I also am sharing another example that if many of you may be familiar, and I'm not sure about in Europe, but Relay for Life, which focuses mostly on the American Cancer Society, but it does have some branches outside of the US. They have regular fundraisers, and this particular one, they actually have a whole kind of almost large team structure for the virtual world of Second Life. And this is an example of kind of fundraising to that extreme. So in this past year, they raised $416,877 US dollars from, again, donations and sales of virtual goods in these microtransaction ways. And since 2004, they've raised almost $4 million towards the cancer research and the American Cancer Society efforts. So kind of shows you the power of that as an example. And another project, prior project involved with more on the civic engagement side of things. I was involved in several projects like this under the auspices of the nonprofit Global Kids, which did a lot of like civic education related things. This project, this was a kind of a mixed reality between multiple virtual worlds. The Obama in Ghana was, and again, this goes back to 2009 at a particular pivotal kind of visit of Obama in Ghana, presenting to the people there, and then how that was being relayed from the State Department feed, the U.S. State Department, and being rebroadcast into a couple different virtual worlds, and including Second Life and MetaPlace, and also getting the feed of that event, but then also once the event was done, to get the feeds of each other's world to be able to have like a cross virtual world conversation. So even though they weren't in the same world, being able to relay chat back and forth through scripted means to be able to kind of communicate and discuss what had happened and was brought over in that particular event. So again, just another example of the power of these spaces. And now kind of jumping ahead to more current related things. As we know, during the pandemic, the kind of power of virtual environments, whether it be things like Verbella like this, or most folks think of it as like Zoom, right? And that's sort of what, if you were to ask people about virtual meetings, they would think about something like that. But tools like this or other virtual VR spaces, kind of have a much more immersive power to be able to connect people. And when COVID-19 hit, we saw AvaCon saw sort of a surgence of folks coming to us who had various needs or due to the pandemic. And a kind of interesting example of this, we had out of Broward County, Florida, which many of you may remember back to I think the US election where Al Gore lost, where there was the whole hanging chads thing that was out of Broward County. But either way, an area in Florida where there was this high school, Lauderhill, and their students, their graduating students, were kind of, in the midst of the pandemic, weren't able to go back to classes, and then also were not able to kind of take part in the rituals that they really wanted to do, including things like their prom and everything. So we hosted a virtual prom, and again, it seems like such a small thing, but they were allowed to actually kind of, they helped build up the environment. This was in Open Simulator, which is an open source virtual world environment. AvaCon, we have our own grid that we kind of gave them space in. And they were able to help build up the environment, and the students came in, were able to kind of set up, their little photo walls of things, customize their avatars to however they needed. Customize their avatars to however they needed, and then and be able to actually host the prom that they had wanted to hold. It allowed what is predominantly a kind of inner city school, regardless of means or means or anything, that students were able to take part, regardless of if they would be able to have afforded something like that, an event in real life. So that was a kind of a nice thing. And then a more recent project, and that also happened during the during the COVID-19 kind of period that we're in. And this focuses more around using WebVR. I'm not sure if any of you might be familiar with A-Frame. It's kind of an open source WebVR development platform. Katabi was a solution that myself and a team of others, including Jeroen Franz, who's in the audience here with us, developed and came up with for the HCL and Microsoft hackathon that happened midway through 2020, looking for code for COVID solutions. And I can paste those links and stuff in chat, and again, you can get the presentation, but you certainly can demo it. But it's an open A-Frame WebVR platform that folks can kind of go in, meet in, you can customize it in regards to what the content is that you load into it, and whether that be the model or the environments. So a very simple way for people to be able to meet and interact in using open source tools during the pandemic when it wasn't as able to happen. So, and finally, I know I'm going through this quick in hopes to make up time. Again, this is just a very quick kind of overview. I've been working in these spaces, as I said, since 2005, working with folks that, whether that be education or nonprofit related clients. So both on the AvaCon side of things on the nonprofit, and then also on the immersive design work that I do. And if you want to find me anywhere online, you can just go to that above.me/Joyce Bettencourt and be able to connect with me. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to talk to you about, answer any questions, or talk to you about any projects if it might be helpful to share my experiences. And you can certainly reach out to me at my email. The other thing is both the AvaCon Virtual World Grid. We have like a virtual good community that we, and again, that's on the open source, open simulator technology, that we allow people to have free space there, and we have free resources and of content and training. So if you're interested in that, you can certainly check that out. And also the Nonprofit Commons community of practice meetings that I was talking about for nonprofit social good related to things. We, the community itself is there all the time, but we meet Fridays at 8:30 a.m. U.S. Pacific time. And you can find more information at that again at nonprofitcommons.avacon.org. And the slides are up at that URL. And certainly I invite you guys to reach out to me. Happy to have kind of like at least given a quick overview of some of this and how important kind of virtual worlds are and virtual environments of VR in the social good space. So, and hopefully that helped make up some time for you.
Well, thank you so much for such an insightful presentation, Joyce.
Thank you.
I think so. Thank you so much for today. So I think we should take 5 minutes break, and then we'll have our next speaker on stage. See you in 5 minutes. Thank you.
And hopefully that helped make up some time for you.
Well, thank you so much for such an insightful presentation, Joyce.
Thank you.
I think so. Thank you so much for today. So I think we should take 5 minutes break, and then we'll have our next speaker on stage. See you in 5 minutes. Thank you.
And hopefully that helped make up some time for you.
Well, thank you so much for such an insightful presentation, Joyce. I think so. Thank you so much for today. So I think we should take 5 minutes break, and then we'll have our next speaker on stage. See you in 5 minutes. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for such an insightful presentation, Joyce.
Julie, you can go if you're ready. Julie, you can go if you're ready. You can go if you're ready.
Okay. Um, Hello. So we have Julie Despraz on the stage, and she'll be speaking about a social platform with inclusive purposes. So I think it's time to start if Julie is ready.
Absolutely.
Okay, so be my guest and please present your presentation. Thank you so much. Hello.
Oh, sorry.
So
No,
we have
what did I do?
Julie Despraz on
Okay, I'm
stage,
sorry. I'm not familiar with this.
she'll be no worries
But
at
anyway.
all.
So
Are
hi
you okay?
everyone. Yes, I'm good. I'm coming back.
Purposes.
Give me 1 second.
So I think it's time to start if
Now,
Julie's ready.
okay. Hi everyone. Well, thanks for sticking around and be ready to listen
Okay,
a little
so
bit
be
about
my
Alloverse.
guest,
So
please present your
we are
presentation.
a young and very small startup. We incorporated in 2020 and we had a massive dream since 2016.
No
At
worries
least a
at
very
all.
ambitious mission right now,
Are you
since
okay?
we are a company, and we want to create the Internet 4.0 with the developers from the entire world. So that's a little bit about our mission, and as you can see below the title on my slide, we really strongly believe in open source, and we want the future of the Internet to be a lot more inclusive and basically kinder. Um, so here's the team. So Nevin is my co-founder, and he's also the founder, and the rest of the team joined us a little bit later, but we are all shareholders in the company. And for that part, I'm the only one who doesn't have a tech background, so everyone else is pretty nerdy, and they've been working a lot with actually iOS apps and those kind of stuff. And I've been mainly on the entrepreneurial journey. So I thought that maybe, first thing first, I'll give you a little bit of background about myself and Nevin, and then the rest of the team, and then give you some idea of what we are trying to build. And my main mission for being here at Laval today is kind of to get people engaged and get some feedback. Obviously, I understand everyone is super busy, but having some ideas about what you think about what we're doing, and then also, wish for you to join us in our Discord, which is a platform we've been using for the last year to gather people that love VR. But here's a little bit about myself. So my name is actually French. I'm from Switzerland, but I left Switzerland when I was 17. I traveled the world as a fashion model when I was 18. And then I got bored with the industry, moved to South Africa, where I opened a French cafe and later launched an online business. And then I sold everything. When I was 24, I decided to go back to Switzerland. I literally lasted 1 year. Not my favorite country, sorry, Swiss people. But anyway, I needed to move on, and I was lucky enough to end up in Stockholm to join a property tech startup as a CEO. And I met Nevin at the time, who was going completely nuts about VR. And he's clearly the tech genius behind our dream. I obviously never had VR on my radar. I didn't even know what it was back then. So it took me a long time to get the understanding of VR and what it could do. And actually, the first thing that popped into my mind was really the use case for education. And as you saw earlier on, there's so much, so many wonderful applications for training, and that's really bringing equality and so many opportunities to people that don't have those kind of opportunities. So anyway, with COVID coming up, actually we shifted from education and we went straight to productivity. And that is how Alloverse was born in 2020. So we came up with this idea of building an open source platform for collaborative apps in VR. And our dream is actually to forget about computers, forget about cell phones, and make VR our working environment, especially for developers who are actually the people I'm hanging out with every day. And it just feels like so natural that we go from, 2D desktop to VR, although the tech has to, slowly come. A quick word about Nevin, my co-founder. He has actually worked at Spotify, like most Swedes that are really good in tech. And then he went on and founded his own company. And then one day he actually looked at YouTube in 2004, and that was a long time ago, but so I've wrote some text, sorry, it's a long slide, but he actually became obsessed with the idea of VR. And that's how it came in his mind. So he started drafting the architecture of Alloverse and what it could look like and all the different kind of protocol network that should be working for Alloverse. So Alloverse, in a few words, is really a collaborative workspace, which means we can be multiple people in the same place talking and working together. And it's also an open source app platform, which means that software specifically written for Alloverse can run as 3D objects in the same space as us. So I know it's a lot of information. I haven't had, we don't have any shiny video right now. We kind of like just working onto the tech. We getting rid of Unity and Unreal. We actually never touched them. We're working with Lover for those who are into the technicalities of VR. And so it's a lot of work. So unfortunately, I don't have any sexy video to show, but that's pretty much what Alloverse is about. And then to give you a little bit more information about our three principle and what we believe is really, really important is this part, which is very much, the importance of creating open platforms to save us from, Facebook big tech, basically, and make sure that it's open source, distributed, federated, and that everyone can work in the open. And with that, we actually also building in public. So we making sure that everything is public, that everyone can join us, that everyone can contribute and create applications that are useful to their own work environment. So you may be a architect or developing for an architecture firm, and that could very much be a very cool app, something for parametric design, let's say. So there are a ton of different use cases in that respect. We really believe that the future of software has to be inherently collaborative by design so that we can actually all work together and have great communication. So, and the last thing is we don't think the UX of XR is great. For many platforms that look incredible, there's still so much work to be done. So we want to, get to a place where using spatial software is actually intuitive and brilliant. Sorry, I moved a bit too fast. In highlighting tech for good or VR for good, we kind of had a look at Alloverse and the different SDG goals that we can fill. And I guess a lot of you have the same type of impact with VR. So that was just a quick kind of idea of what we feel is right for Alloverse to do what we are doing, because we want to have this kind of impact and we want to build something that will outlast the team. And then, okay, now I've been too fast. Sorry, I'll get there. Last thing is really maybe the few goals that we have for Alloverse over the next couple of years. So we want to be able to completely work inside that environment, VR environment we've built. We want to have a marketplace where people can just publish and deploy their apps and sell them or give them away for free, and ultimately become the open and free standard for XR collaboration to stop companies like Facebook, Apple, sorry to be controversial, from owning a centralized walled garden ecosystem for app development. So that's it. Thank you so much. I rushed through it, but this was one of my first talks, so I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have questions or if you feel like visiting our website or join our Discord to chat further, I'd be super keen to hear from you. So yeah, thank you so much. companies like Facebook, Apple. Sorry to be controversial.
Thank you very much,
Julie.
Julie.
Decentralized walled garden
Thank you.
ecosystem for app developers. So that's it. Thank you so much. I rushed through it, but this was one of my first talks, so I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have questions, or if
Okay, thank you so much, Julie.
join our Discord to chat
And
further,
I think
I'd be
we
super
can
curious to hear
have
from you.
another 5 minutes of
Thank you
break
so much.
before our next speaker. And so see you in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's it. Thank you so much. I rushed through it, but this was one of my first talks, so I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have questions, or if
Okay, thank you so much, Julie. And I think we can have another 5 minutes of break before our next speaker. And so see you in 5 minutes. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Julie. And I think we can have another 5 minutes of break before our next speaker. And so see you in 5 minutes. Thank you. Hi everyone, we are back and I'd like to welcome on the stage our next speaker, Benjamin Poussard. Benjamin, are you here? Are you ready?
I am. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you well, so I'll leave you the stage for your presentation. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, let me just share my presentation, which is not the good screen. Sorry for that. Just one moment.
Hi everyone, we are back and I'd like to welcome on the stage our next speaker, Benjamin Poussard. Benjamin, are you here? Are you ready?
I am. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you well, so I'll leave you the stage for your presentation. Thank you so much.
Okay, this should be better. Okay, I think you can see the presentation now, which is not the good screen. So, first of all, thank you very much for your presence here today. I wanted to present the INEDIT project, which is the definition of a new approach for open innovation ecosystems using a process called Do It Together, and I will talk about this process a bit later. And I wanted to present this project in Laval Virtual because we use interactive technologies for the customized and sustainable design, for furniture design, I precise, in this do-it-together approach. So my name is Benjamin. I'm a research engineer at the Métiers group, which is an engineer school, and we have 15 research laboratories in France. And I'm specialized in virtual reality and augmented reality technologies, research and development, and I'm actually the coordinator of the INEDIT project. So, let me start by a short video. I hope that the frame rate will be okay for you. It explains the concept. So we have Kim. Kim is a consumer. She wants a specific furniture in her home, and she cannot find the product she wants. So the idea is that she will try to find on the internet platform, and she will find our platform, um, allowing for connecting people with needs and people with expertise with different kind of technologies that will be quite simple and easy to use. It will combine the scanning capabilities, so you can scan your space, the place where you want to create the furniture, and then you will have some tools that will be collaborative to imagine the furniture. So we introduce virtual reality in this approach, and augmented reality also for design reviews. Then we connect all the people that are concerned by this process together. So it means consumers, designers, the community, that can be friends or family, and the producers that will at the end produce the furniture. So that's the focus on our project. And you can see that Kim can order this furniture once it's designed. And once it's designed and she orders it, this is produced locally. So we work also on the network of producers that will be able to, well, let's say, play with this process, the do-it-together process, to be able to manufacture the different parts and the furniture to be delivered locally. So these concepts are really interesting because we can foster the creativity and be more, let's say, respect more the customization needs of the consumers. It can be useful also for designers. With this concept, with the do-it-together concepts, we're also working on new business models because we completely changed the way it works today. And to do this, we are working on the automatic design to manufacturing capabilities with 4 use cases. I will talk a bit about this, which are woodworking machines. It means that you work on wood panels and you have to manufacture the wood panels to create furniture. 3D printing of wood. This means 3D printing of wood fibers that are merged with other elements to create really interesting 3D printed parts in wood-based parts. 3D printing of recycled plastic based on circular economy and recycling of plastic, and smartification of furniture to provide functions to furniture. And then by this, we target valuable outcomes for consumers with, as I said, creating customizations, designers for new business opportunities, and producers with also business opportunities, but also on-demand production. So this should lead to local jobs, greener, customized, sustainable products, and on-demand analytical production. So I hope the video was, the frame rate was good enough for you. This you can find on the internet. I just shared the link in the chat, so you can click on it and find the website. So where did it start from? This starts a few years ago, 3 years ago, with ideas about, well, I'm researcher in augmented and VR technology, so I work in the design process mostly for the industry. And we wanted to shorten the time between the creativity, the need, expression of for products, and the manufacturing of this product. We had a lot of technological opportunities. There is the movement that is the do-it-yourself movement that we want to transfer into do-it-together movement, the environmental context that we need to take into account, and expertise from 14 partners. I will come to this. So the INEDIT project is a European project. So we are funded by the European Commission for this, with 40 partners in 7 countries. We have 4 SMEs, 2 R&D centers, 6 universities and schools, and 2 large companies working on this project. And it's a several million euros project. So it's quite important, and we are really proud of being able to coordinate this project. Our hypothesis is this one. By building a platform, which is a digital platform, and by enabling this platform in physical spaces and digital spaces, we work on really the way we can combine the physical and digital spaces, the way people can work together. By working on this, by working on the translation layers between the design and the manufacturing, and by working on the networks of producers, we can get the targets, the value elements that I was describing in the video. So then to have the customer satisfaction, loyalty, and sustainable furniture production. So we will demonstrate potential innovation of social manufacturing models from, as I said, the creativity up to the market for sustainable furniture co-creation. The motto of the project, and I think just getting this in mind is quite enough for me. If you remember this, is design global and produce local. The interactive technology will enable us to design global, and then the network will allow to produce local. So what did we do in the first year? We tried, well, I forgot to mention that the project started in October 2019, so we are half of the project right now. And on the first year, we have tried to transfer the do-it-yourself methodology, let's say, into a do-it-together approach. So the first year has been really to change this individual process into a collective process, focusing on open innovation concepts. So we have a definition that can be like this for this process. So this is the do together. This is a social product development process based on democratic co-design and open manufacturing of customized product assisted by a community of professionals and experts. So we really have this way of connecting people together, the expertise of different people together, to get at the end a co-creation and a co-design of the furniture. So, well, after 1 year, we have defined a project process. That is this one, in which we work on technologies, mainly on the first parts of the project for my side, and I wanted to present this. I will skip this slide that details the process, but I will be able to talk about it if someone wants to. And this is technologies that we are also showcasing on our booth on the physical events, because we are also present at the physical events. We have developed scanning solutions, then immersive creativity solutions to be able to be immersed with several persons and to create together in this scan directly, and then immersive design solution to really create the furniture. So this is a short example of a live demo that we had on our, well, let's say midterm review from the European Commission, showcasing the scanning of an environment, retrieving the scan inside virtual reality, then solutions to directly erase part of the scan and create with different users able to directly draw things and imagine things that were for the creativity part of the project, up to the design where we are still working on. And all these technological modules that we are developing will be included in apps that will be provided as a testing application from the end of the year and the beginning of 2022, accompanied with a website to allow this collaboration. And what you can see at the end is that based on this design tool, we are directly working on the manufacturing process, and this is the kind of files that will be directly consumed by the woodworking centers. So um, here you can see the kind of machines that we'll be using for the project. So the woodworking centers that will use panels, wood panels, basically, that have been designed in the virtual reality tools. And for the 3D printing parts, we have the well, it's the only one in Europe. This is the Gigabotics, which is able to directly create the plastic filament based on recycled plastic. So me and my colleagues at University of Lorraine are really working on circular economy concepts to be able to recycle the plastic and print it directly for specific parts of the furniture, for instance. And we have the 3D printing of wood, which is based on, well, robotic cells able to directly print wood and have customized shape and interesting shapes for the furniture design. So, well, basically in brief, what we target is helping people to collaborate thanks to web platform, thanks to interactive technologies around a network of experts and producers to create customized and sustainable products, furnitures, local jobs, and using of renewable materials and on-demand and digital production. So really think that here in this project, interactive technologies can be used for sustainable development, product development. So, merci beaucoup. Thank you for your time. I sent in the chat some links, but you can also flash the QR code and follow us on the LinkedIn newsletter channels that we have for the project, and I would be really glad to talk with you about this project. Thank you.
So much, Benjamin, for this interesting project.
You're welcome.
Project.
I sent in the chat some links. Okay, so that's all for me. The QR code and follow us on the LinkedIn.
Okay, thank you so much, Benjamin, for pitching us such an interesting project. So I've seen someone raising a hand in the public. Am I right?
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
So much,
No?
Benjamin, for this interesting project.
Okay.
So if some of you have some questions, we have a virtual booth also in the hall 2 of the virtual conference, and we have the physical booth, B13, on the physical events. So don't hesitate to come and see us.
Okay, thank you so much, Benjamin.
You're welcome.
Am I right? Are there any questions?
So much,
No?
Benjamin, for this interesting project.
Okay.
So if some of you have some questions, we have a virtual booth also in the hall 2 of the virtual conference, and we have the physical booth, B13.
Okay, so
don't hesitate
oops, just walking randomly on the stage. So thank you so much for being with us until now. We are taking another 5 minutes of break before our panel begins. And as we mentioned before, there will be 4 of our speakers. And the main theme of the panel will be sustainability and how each of the speaker who spoke today had their own definition of sustainability within immersive tech. And so we'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you so much. And as we mentioned before, there will be 4 of our speakers.
C'est quoi ce bordel? Comment ça, je suis tout seul?
Of the panel will be sustainability
Ouais, s'il vous
and
plaît.
how each of the
On est là, on est avec toi.
speaker that spoke today had their own definition of sustainability within immersive tech.
Oui.
And so we'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you so much.
Ouais, et il s'en va.
C'est quoi ce bordel? Comment ça, je suis tout seul? Ouais, s'il vous plaît.
On est là, on est avec toi.
Tout va bien.
Oui.
So we'll be back in 5
Et tu es quand même beaucoup plus à même de faire des conneries parce que tu peux courir sur la salle, par exemple, sur la scène, par exemple, ce que tu ferais pas vraiment dans la vraie vie.
Ouais, puis surtout que là, t'as bien tout le monde qui t'entend dire ça en plus, donc c'est un plaisir. Alors Yann.
Courageux mais pas téméraire.
Ouais. Oh. Aucune répartie.
Je vais m'asseoir.
Allez, on va s'asseoir. Ouais, puis surtout que là, t'as bien tout le monde qui t'entend dire ça en plus, donc c'est un plaisir. Alors Yann.
Courageux mais pas téméraire.
Ouais. Oh. Aucune répartie.
Je vais m'asseoir.
Allez, on va s'asseoir. Ouais, puis surtout que là, t'as bien tout le monde qui t'entend dire ça en plus, donc c'est un plaisir. Alors Yann.
Courageux mais pas téméraire.
Ouais. Oh. Allez, on va s'asseoir.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for waiting and for making it so far with us today. As I briefly introduced before, the theme and the main title of this panel is "Do It Together" in XR. So we've been really inspired by this new "Do It Together" movement. And we thought that would be an amazing way to describe a panel which talks about inclusivity, sustainability, and good impact. So, as the old African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. but if you want to go far, go together. And so we really think that collaboration and sharing are the key concepts for our future, where XR technologies are catalysts for the creation of new social interaction environments that will help to shape a more sustainable world. So I'd like to welcome on the stage again our four speakers. And so I'd like to welcome Benjamin Poussard, Yann Kerbart, Joyce, Bettencourt, and Julie Despraz. And it would be amazing if we could start and have an exchange regarding how do you guys see sustainability within your experience in immersive tech, and what's your personal point of view on the basis of your experience and your social life as contemporary human beings regarding the good impact of immersive tech on environment and society. So, guys, so are you Benjamin, Ian, Joyce, and Julie here?
Two of us at least on the stage already.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
I'm here with the rest of my team too.
Okay, great. So I see Benjamin and Joyce. Okay, Julie is no longer here. And Ian, can you? I see you're in the room, but I cannot see you on stage.
I'm here on the other side. Maybe I should go on the other side too.
Okay, yeah, we are very welcome to step in on the stage if you want, so that we are all gathered, you're all very virtually close.
Hello.
Amazing.
Hello.
Okay, Julie is no longer okay. So I don't know from whom we would like to start, but yeah, basically, I think that it's been very inspiring to hear about your presentations, the work you've done. We've brought up very interesting concepts: metaverse, augmented reality, and do it together, new way of intending our business and social models on the basis of new technologies. So I'd like to start from Joyce, ladies first, that's okay for you. And yes, so Joyce, I would like, you presented your very interesting idea of metaverse, and you've showed us very interesting uses of metaverse, even if not in virtual reality, but you've mentioned Second Life as well. And I'd like to ask you, how do you imagine sustainability? How do you picture sustainability within these environments, and what's the good impact for you?
I think, I mean, certainly on the more straightforward sense of sustainability, I think Julie's not here, but her SDG goals were, I think, very right on for a lot of us doing virtual worlds work, and the impact that that can help on the environment by not traveling and collaborating together in these ways. So that's certainly, I think, important for anybody working in virtual spaces like this. In regards to what you put across in that proverb of kind of like working stronger together, certainly I think both in regards to some of the work that I've done, whether it's those community building things or things like that nonprofit commons related idea, the fact that you can bring together experts and people working in the field in various social good or research or educational related ways. And similar to what we're doing here, you don't have to travel. There's no worry about where you're located in the world, nor worry about like what your physical ability might be. So I think it's a leveler in that way as well. So and of course, as I said, like during these COVID-19 pandemic times, it became almost a necessity, and certainly less tiresome because your brain is better adapt neurologically at understanding virtual interactions than it is something like hours and hours of Zoom. Is actually kind of better in that regard too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you basically see sustainability in terms only in or regarding impact on the environment, right? That's what, because it's a great theme right now. So we governments talk about, yeah.
Interactions that it is something like certainly that, and again, I think that connection of an ability to be able to kind of work both like in that collaborative work regardless of where you are, to be able to work kind of like smarter and more intensively than you might and collaborate in ways that you wouldn't be able to. So I think that also helps in that larger sustainability thing, sustainability focus as well. You know.
And within AvaCon, how do you, when you, well, what's the mission of the company in terms of the organization, sorry, in terms of good impact? Is there any field you are more addressed to, or?
Yeah, I mean, that, you know, what I brought up, that whole like concept of kind of supporting and growing the metaverse, and in some ways the metaverse concept itself, right, is kind of dealing with a lot of these technologies that are intertwined. So virtual VR, augmented reality, all that sort of stuff. But in that mission that we see it as like supporting the development of like the developers and the development of tools, especially, and again, Julie brought up some of this stuff too, open source related tools that then help kind of the larger ecosystem, right? So that, and so we're helping to kind of promote and share those things, which ultimately only strengthens the entire ecosystem, hopefully. The, you know, the same with bringing together kind of practitioners and folks that are using the space, and getting those kind of those two groups often that can be disparate, like developers and users, to come together and be able to interact and kind of hone what would be this 3D, you know, like the 3D web or immersive metaverse concept, to a place that's not only developmentally functional, but like actually, you know, humanistically applied. So that way, it actually be, you know, it's applied in a you know, in a way that makes sense for users. So our kind of mission kind of focuses on supporting and that kind of sort of broader good in the ecosystem. So.
Okay, thank you, Joyce. I think your answer was pretty clear and thoughtful. So, Benjamin, what's your idea of sustainability within immersive tech and good impact on the basis of the presentation and your project and your aims in the future that you want to reach with your study?
Yeah, well, I think it's a very difficult question because sustainability is quite wide term and can mean many things. So I completely agree with what was said by Joyce. I mean that we have for instance, the sustainability of the tools. So one example of getting sustainable tools is getting, for instance, open source technologies. So you can maintain it, you can make it evolve, and so on. One other aspect is regarding the sustainability of the environment. So can we make a more sustainable environment and environmental conditions thanks to our technology? I think so, because this is exactly the concepts of our projects. We have concepts allowing us to use technologies for helping and providing better service but without the constraints of, for instance, transportations of well, parts or materials from one place to another. The idea of the project was, for instance, to avoid importing furniture from far away. Like most of the furniture are produced quite far from the places they are where they are sold, for instance, today. So we wanted to create on-demand production, but close to the consumer side, even if the design is made in well any place on Earth, thanks to the capabilities of collaborative environments. But because there is a but to me, the thing is that if we collaborate in virtual environments, it means that we have servers online handling our data. And regarding sustainability, I have a fear today regarding the cloud rendering technologies, for instance. If you go in virtual worlds like Virdala, for instance, we are the Laval virtual world here today. We share screens, we share data, we can share the position of the avatars of every one of you. But if tomorrow all the games, all the virtual worlds rely on cloud XR, cloud rendering technologies, it means that you have streaming, video streaming services that runs 24 hours and well, it's I think it's not the right decision, and there is an ethical decision to take because it means that we will have other GPU farms that will render things every time for millions of users, and this is not well to me ethical in terms of environmental impacts, let's say. So I would say yes for collaborative environment like this one, where we can meet, we can collaborate, we can talk, we can create things, create value, and exchange value. But depending on the technology that is behind, this can be worse than what exists already.
That's something very interesting what you brought up, Benjamin, because I think when Carlo pictured some themes for the panel, we agree that sustainability is a wide term. So that's why we wanted to hear from you on the basis of your personal experience. How do you define sustainability? Because most of the time it's related to environment. And what you brought up about server farms and the cloud services that are very demanding in terms of energy and resources, it's something that most of probably normal people or like us or people that are not even related with any tech industry whatsoever think of, right?
Yeah, 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 exactly. But why there is well, why I'm quite afraid because we as users we want the best. We always want the best, and if we want the best, there is the conditions now that are reunited. I mean, there is this 5G, and there is really big graphical performances with new GPUs in this kind of server farms. This means that we will be able to democratize the use of this technology. But if we do it, we must be conscious that there will be a very negative impact on environment. So, I mean, this we know this.
Yeah, and so I think that in a way we can resume your thought like being sustainable with consciousness, probably, and in terms regarding tech, especially that because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, if we want to remain sustainable, we need to regulate this for sure.
Thanks so much for this point of view. I think it's very inspiring. And
so, I mean, this we know this.
Yeah, and so I think that in a way we can
I
resume
think
your
we
thought,
lost you,
like
Julia.
being
Cannot hear you
sustainable with
anymore.
consciousness. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was saying that I think that's a very interesting point you've brought up, and I'd like Ian to give us his point of view and thoughts regarding these two themes, and then if we have time, I'd like also to hear our public and if they have questions for you guys, so that we can dig in even more.
Yes, thank you. I will be quick because a lot of things have been already said. Speaking about sustainability, I think our project convey this message. Like we explained to you before, we are talking with Revivre about human activities and all the damages sometimes these activities create. And we use in our experience the technology to as a spectacular way to yes to convey a message, to try to raise awareness in the audience, and try to make understand the people that in their own at their own scale they can be the actors of a major changing. So we don't create virtual world. We don't do that. We use this technology to yes to in the reality try to raise awareness, and we hope that that this spectacular way to do it and this innovative way to do it will make its path in the mind of all our visitors. I don't know how I can say more. Maybe my colleagues have other things to say. Maybe Florent or Zachary, if you want to add something.
Yes, please.
Yes, to in the reality try.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I
All
can
right,
hear you well.
at the other side of the podium. No, just as everyone says, I think sustainability mainly is to be sustainable, to learn, is to learn things, to get informations. It's true for articles, it's true for press, it's true for education, of course. And I think using those technology can help give a new mean, touch people, to give information to people that maybe didn't get this information in another way. As we do it in museums, probably we can bring people to discover those collections and the thematics linked to this collection. In fact, for us, biodiversity and destruction of the biodiversity, to people that maybe never went to these museums without those technology. So I think this is sustainability in terms of pedagogy and giving information, and I think it's also really important.
And it also shows social impact in a way, in good impact, because there's an effect, right?
Definitely, because if the people learn things and know how to protect, know how to interact, know how to conduce their lives, they will change their behavior and their actions. If they don't know or don't know why they are doing it, they don't. So I think those technology can bring people to get this information and a new way to make it. I don't want to say fun, but different.
Okay, and I think it's very interesting, and I think we have highlighted some key points that are very useful. So sustainability in terms of how can we be less aggressive on the environment using technology, but at the same time, how conscious we should be on the use of these technologies, and how sustainability can be productive within the education environment and useful and effective. And regarding this, I'd like to hear if there are some questions from the public regarding these themes, if they want to know more from our speakers about their point of view or their experience. Are there any questions on the use of these technologies and how sustainability can be productive within the education environment? And you can also type it in the chat if you prefer. And regarding this, I'd like to hear if there are some questions from the public regarding these themes, if they want to know more from our speakers about their point of view, their experience.
Mm.
Okay. Do you have a question, Benjamin?
Perhaps now there is one person talking or not. Nicole Ramos was talking. No?
It's not a question, but that is really important to think about in a way not fantastic, but realistic, real.
Perhaps now there is one person talking.
Sorry, Nicole, we're experiencing issues and we cannot hear you well. Can you please repeat or type your question in the chat?
It's really important to think about in a way not fantastic.
Carlo, I think we're
realistic.
there's probably, I don't know if Nicole has a problem with the internet, if it's on our side. She's writing though. The question is coming. Okay. Can you please repeat or type or a question or thought?
Je peux parler en français si vous voulez.
Carlo, I think there's probably, I don't know if Nicole has a problem with the internet, if it's on our side. She's writing though.
Okay, so is it a language problem or connection issue?
C'est un langage. C'est un problème de langage. It's a language.
Okay.
Okay, so
you can do it in French and we can translate.
Yeah.
En français. C'est mais avons une vision et c'est bien que nous pouvons avoir une vision plus réelle parce que voilà, nous sommes dans... Mais quels sont les impacts dans la production, dans l'environnement, mais aussi dans l'impact social? Nous avons... Les gens ont véritablement une conscience de cet impact parce qu'il y a une consommation du produit. Donc, c'est plus une observation en fait. L'éducation sur cette conscience dans la consommation, dans l'impact de l'environnement, mais aussi bien que ça. Nous avons
Okay.
The connection was not that good also.
So it was difficult to understand the question, right?
Even in French. Yeah, but the question was related to the social impacts on the consumption of goods in a general way.
I think so. Okay. Nicole is writing something. Okay.
The connection was not that good also.
So it was difficult to understand the question,
yeah,
right?
even in French. Yeah, but the question was related
Conscience about the yeah. I think you spotted,
on
Benjamin.
Consumption of goods in a general way. Yeah, perhaps I can bring my point of view and I will.
Yes. Yeah, and maybe Joyce and Yann can give that.
I think that as I don't remember the name of the person who talked, Laurent, perhaps, regarding the fact that all these technologies will allow us to learn things. So I think I completely agree. Learning is for me, the main solutions for at least have some impact on the consumption of every good, because we are in a massive consumption. We are societies that consume a lot. I don't know why. Perhaps because it's in our nature, but I think that learning with this kind of experiences that would have to be shared at well, at global scale and worldwide scale. These technologies can allow all the people to learn and to have consciousness on these consumption needs. But I think that it will take several generations to have really an impact. And I think this, well, like I said regarding the cloud technology, if people are only well advertised on the use case and not on how this is done, and do not know how this works and what is the impact on the overall sustainability, let's say, it can be social or for the environment. But if the people are just consumers and are not aware on the overall context, I think this is a problem for to maintain sustainability in our societies. And I have another example. I did not talk earlier about that, but in the INEDIT project, we have an approach also to have more sustainable furniture. What do we mean by this? If we engage the consumer in the act of designing, creating furniture that is really customized for its needs with specific functions, specific shapes, that matches the location where it would be placed. This, we hope that this will help to have, let's say, more attachment to this furniture, and this will sustainable in time. You will keep it because it's not just I would say an IKEA furniture that you buy for your student apartment. It's something that you built for you and that will be sustainable in time.
Okay, so you see also the emotional attachment as a key factor because you helped producing and shaping that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
exactly. For instance, it's another aspect.
Okay. So thank you so much. We have only 1 minute left. So I just want you to, I don't think there are other questions from the public. And if Ian or Joyce would like to say a few things very briefly.
So you see also I agree with Benjamin about the, I think, that crux of like learning and that being important to kind of the users that are using these spaces, and even from the mindset of those who are creating it, that learning and engagement in that deeper way, so it isn't just a consumption throwaway experience that's just people that is kind of using resources for not that sort of impact is important. And I'll leave it with that. Certainly, that's how, for my own personal thing, that's why I kind of choose to work on these kind of things versus just an entertainment related uses of these spaces.
Okay, thank you so much, Joyce. And Ian, do you want to add
Yes,
something?
very briefly, I agree, of course, with all what has been said. I think that yes, technology needs to free the people and help to reveal to them the information that will enable them to become aware of their action and the impact of this action. And after it's up to us, creator and people from this new technology area to ensure that technology does not become alienating and just stay a freedom tool for everybody.
Thank you so much. So I think we have run out of time, and I wanted to thank our speakers for these really insightful presentations, and Laval for making this possible. Of course.
Alienating and just stay a freedom tool for everybody.
Thank you so much. So
And thank you, Julia, for having us.
Yeah, thank you for the organization of this session.
Thank our speakers for this.
Thanks, you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
See you next edition.
Yeah, sure.
Bye. Thank you.
thank you, Julia, for having us.
Yeah, thank you for the organization of this session.
Thanks you. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you so
Yo,
much. Bye bye.
see you next
Bye.
edition.
Yeah, sure. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia.